What's up, fight fans? Welcome back to the channel. Today's news is absolutely stacked. Dana White just dropped a massive update that could change boxing forever. Conor McGregor is making some wild claims again, and the GOAT debate is heating up like never before. We've got Morab Dvalishvili's rise to legend status, Topuria forcing his way into pound-for-pound conversations, Islam Makhachev possibly leaving lightweight behind, Dustin Poirier hinting at one final fight, but not in the cage, and Pereira gearing up for revenge. Plus, a 7-year grudge match just collapsed in bloody fashion. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the latest updates. And if you're already part of the crew, welcome back. Let's get right into it. A few years ago, most fans didn't have Morab Dvalishvili anywhere near GOAT discussions. He was that relentless Georgian grappler with crazy cardio, fun to watch, but not legend status. But that narrative has changed completely. Morab hasn't just been winning fights, he's been rewriting bantamweight history in real time. His win over Jose Aldo wasn't just a victory, it was a passing of the torch. Morab didn't outstrike Aldo, he outworked him in a way no one had ever done before. Then came the Petra Yan fight, where he broke a former champ mentally and physically. Morab set a record-breaking number of takedown attempts, drowning Yan in pressure from bell to bell. The thing that separates Morab isn't just his motor, it's the psychological warfare. When fighters step in there with him, they know they're about to face 25 minutes of hell. No coasting, no time to breathe, no escape. He turns every round into a dogfight. Even Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson recently weighed in, and his take shocked a lot of people. He said that if you put Prime Morab against Prime Dominic Cruz, he'd lean toward Morab. And remember, this is coming from one of the smartest fighters to ever do it. Johnson pointed out that Cruz had elite fight IQ and movement, but Morab's ability to systematically dismantle champions is something special. He's not relying on trickery, he's imposing his will relentlessly. And honestly, he's right. Morab is on a historic run. He's already defeated multiple top contenders, he's setting records, and he's doing it in a way that no one has really done before in this division. The conversation is shifting from is Morab underrated to are we witnessing one of the greatest bantamweights ever right now? What do you think, fight fans? Is Morab already a top 3 bantamweight of all time? Or does he still need that big title defense to seal the deal? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you respect the relentless grind Morab brings, hit that like button right now, it really helps us out. While Morab is grinding his way into the history books, Ilia Topuria is forcing the MMA world to ask some uncomfortable questions. Is it possible that we're witnessing the pound-for-pound best fighter ever right now, just a few fights into his championship run? It sounds crazy at first, but look at what he's done. In his last 3 fights, Topuria has knocked out Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway, and Charles Oliveira. Let that sink in for a second. That's 3 legends, 3 pound-for-pound elite fighters. All finished. No decisions, no grinding out wins, just violent, clinical knockouts. Analyst Sean Ali even made a bold statement recently. Ilia is pound for pound the greatest fighter to ever walk this earth. At first, people thought he was trolling, but then they looked at the resume. Volk KO, Max KO, Charles KO. Topuria isn't just beating these guys, he's shutting them down, taking their weapons away, and putting them to sleep. And the crazy part, he's doing it faster than anyone expected. GSP and John Jones built their legacies over years of dominance. Topuria is doing it in months. He's stylistically unique, his boxing is crisp, his timing is elite, and his defensive awareness makes it nearly impossible to land clean on him. He doesn't just trade in the pocket, he controls it like a seasoned veteran even though he's still early in his reign. Fans have started flooding social media with comparisons. Some are calling him the future GOAT, others say it's way too early, but one thing everyone agrees on, he's special. And now the conversation is turning toward the one matchup that could define this era, Topuria versus Islam Makhachev. Before we get to that, let us know in the comments, where do you rank Topuria right now on the pound-for-pound list? Is he already number 1, or does he still need to prove himself against a dominant wrestler like Islam? And if you think Topuria's rise is the most exciting thing happening in MMA right now, smash that like button. The only way the GOAT conversation between Topuria and the current elite gets settled is inside the cage, and that's where Islam Makhachev comes in. Islam has been dominant at lightweight, but there's a big twist. According to Dustin Poirier and others close to the scene, Islam might be done with lightweight altogether. He's reportedly been bulking up for a move to welterweight, and anyone who's followed Islam's career knows weight cuts have always been a battle for him. We've seen it multiple times. Fights where he looked drained on the scale, rumors of brutal cuts behind the scenes. And now that he's put on even more size, cutting back down to 55 might not just be hard, it might be impossible to do safely. Dustin Poirier recently shared his thoughts, and he didn't hold back. He said Islam at this point isn't a small guy at all, and that once he faces a true welterweight, fans will realize just how big he is. Poirier believes if Islam returns to lightweight, it's going to be an extreme cut and it might not be sustainable. This has massive implications. If Islam moves up, it leaves a vacant throne at lightweight, and if Topuria wants to solidify his legacy, a catchweight or super fight with Islam could become the biggest fight of this new era. Stylistically, that matchup is fascinating. Islam's pressure and grappling versus Topuria's striking and defensive awareness. Can Islam get him down? Can Topuria land that counter early? It's the kind of fight that would define legacies for both men. And fans are already salivating at the thought of it. Social media threads are filled with fantasy booking, with some saying Topuria would stuff the takedowns and knock Islam out, while others believe Islam's strength and control would smother Topuria. One thing is clear, if this fight happens, it could end up being the defining super fight of this generation. Who do you think wins, fight fans? Islam's smothering style or Topuria's brutal precision? Drop your pick in the comments below. Dustin Poirier might be done with MMA, but he might not be done fighting. Earlier this week, he tweeted that the only fight he'd consider is a 12-round boxing match with Nate Diaz. This isn't some random fantasy matchup. These two were supposed to fight way back in 2018 at UFC 230, but injuries and contract drama killed it. Then in 2022, when Khamzat Chimaev weighed at UFC 279, Poirier nearly fought Diaz on one day's notice. But the UFC reshuffled everything, and it never happened. Now, the timing feels different. Dustin is older, he's accomplished just about everything in MMA, and the boxing world is opening its doors wider than ever for UFC stars. And with Dana White's new venture, Zuffa Boxing, kicking off, a Diaz versus Poirier boxing match could be massive. It's the perfect crossover fight. Two fan favorites, two veterans, real history, real beef, no takedowns. Just gloves, grit, and fireworks. Dustin has hinted multiple times that if he does fight again, it needs to be something special, and honestly, this would fit that bill perfectly. What do you guys think? Should Dustin hang it up for good, or do you want to see him throw hands with Nate Diaz in the boxing ring? If you tune in for that fight, let us know in the comments and hit that like button to support the channel. Speaking of boxing, Dana White is officially stepping into the ring, literally. Dana just announced the launch of Zuffa Boxing, backed by a 5-year broadcast deal with CBS and Paramount+. We're talking 12 shows a year, the introduction of female divisions, a modernized production setup with LED tech, and even potential rule changes to make the fights more exciting. Dana said they had a massive design meeting for a new boxing ring, complete with new layouts and lighting. He hinted at tweaking the rules, not changing the Muhammad Ali Act, but building on it to modernize the sport. Fighters will be able to choose to compete under the existing Ali Act or Dana's new version, which he says will give them more options and flexibility. But one of the biggest bombshells, Zuffa Boxing will only recognize 2 titles, the Zuffa title and the Ring Magazine belt. That means no WBA, no WBC, no sanctioning body chaos. Dana's essentially trying to do what he did for MMA with the UFC, streamline boxing, make it cleaner, more modern, and less political. And this has everyone talking. Which UFC stars might cross over first? Dustin? Conor? Masvidal? Maybe even someone unexpected. The potential for big crossover fights is real, and this leads perfectly into our next story. Of course, Conor McGregor found a way to steal headlines again. Recently, Conor claimed he's in direct talks with Donald Trump to host a fight at the White House. Yes, you heard that right. Dana White couldn't help but laugh it off. He made it clear that the UFC is still fully in control of Conor's next move. And honestly, this is classic McGregor. Every time the spotlight starts to drift away, he says something outrageous to pull it right back. But the timing here is interesting. With Zuffa Boxing launching, Dana entering the boxing world, and the UFC moving through a transitional era, Conor's leverage is changing. Is he hyping up a potential boxing match under the Zuffa banner? Is this another PR masterclass? Or is he genuinely plotting something wild with Trump? Fans are split. Some think it's just Conor being Conor. Others believe there's some truth to it, especially with Conor's history of maneuvering his way into unique fight scenarios. What seems clear is this: Dana's not letting Conor call the shots this time. He brushed off the claim quickly, emphasizing that the UFC is still steering the ship. What do you think, fight fans? Is Conor genuinely working some kind of angle here, or is it just noise to stay relevant? Drop your take below. While Dana and Conor play power games, the light heavyweight division is gearing up for a massive rematch. Alex Pereira is looking to reclaim the belt against Magomed Ankalaev, the man who took it from him earlier this year. Dustin Poirier recently said he believes Pereira's hunger and knockout power could end the fight early this time. He pointed out that Alex has danced with this guy before, and that kind of experience matters. Pereira wants revenge. He wants the title back, and he's been looking sharp in training. But not everyone's buying it. Tom Aspinall gave a more technical take. He pointed out that Ankalaev's southpaw stance, range control, and grappling threat make him a nightmare matchup for Pereira. In their first fight, Ankalaev didn't even lean heavily on takedowns, but the threat alone was enough to keep Pereira hesitant. Tom said stylistically, it's just a tough fight for Pereira, and he wouldn't be surprised if Ankalaev does it again. Then Brendan Schaub dropped a wild idea. He said the UFC should trade Ankalaev to the PFL for rising star Dakota Dvalishvili. His reasoning? Ankalaev's not marketable, while Dvalishvili is becoming a breakout name. From a pure business perspective, it actually made sense to him. This rematch is more than just a fight, it's a crossroads for the division. If Pereira wins, the UFC gets back its explosive, marketable knockout artist at the top. If Ankalaev wins, they have a dominant but less marketable champ who could shut down a lot of stars. What do you think? Will Pereira get his revenge, or will Ankalaev prove he's just the better fighter? Let us know in the comments, and if you're hyped for this rematch, hit that like button. Now to one of the more emotional stories of the week, the long-awaited fight between Artem Lobov and Zuffa Tukhugov has been cancelled once again, this time due to a nasty training injury. Lobov released a video explaining that during a late-night grappling session, he suffered a deep cut on his face bad enough that the doctor immediately pulled him from the fight. He said it wasn't just a straight-line cut, it opened up scar tissue built over years of wars, including his bare-knuckle days. What made this fight special was the history. These two were supposed to fight 7 years ago at a UFC event in Canada, but it was scrapped after Tukhugov got pulled for his role in that infamous brawl between Team McGregor and Khabib's camp. For years, fans have talked about this fight as unfinished business. Lobov said he's never pulled out of a fight in his entire career and apologized to the fans, PFL, and Tukhugov's team. He also promised that if the fight does get rescheduled, he'll make it an absolute bloodbath. Whether that happens or not remains to be seen. Time is catching up with Lobov, and honestly, this might have been their last chance to settle that score. What do you think? Should PFL try to rebook Lobov versus Tukhugov one more time, or is this saga officially over? From Morab's relentless rise to Topuria's shocking dominance, from Islam's possible move to welterweight to Dustin eyeing the boxing ring, from Dana launching Zuffa boxing to Conor stirring up chaos, from Pereira's revenge mission to Lobov's heartbreaking pullout. The fight world is evolving in every direction. New stars are rising, legends are making unexpected moves, and promotions are reshaping the landscape. Who do you think will define this next era of combat sports? Is it Topuria's time? Will Dana revolutionize boxing again? Will Pereira reclaim his throne? Drop your predictions in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next update. Thanks for watching, fight fans. See you in the next one.